Hello, welcome to Tigers, blah, 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 episode 7. Doing well here. Luke Flanagan is me, and yeah, I'm Luke Flanagan, and co-host is Rich Walker. He's here as well.
I am. I'm here.
He's here.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm here.
So, following on from Craig Fagan last episode, we have Caleb Folan today. So again, me and Rich very excited.
Another promotion hero.
So obviously loads of questions to ask him. So without further ado, we'll welcome Caleb Folan. Now then, Caleb, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Caleb.
How are we doing? Can we hear?
We're all good. So I'm Luke, by the way, and then Rich is my co-host. You can hear us.
Now then.
How are you doing, guys? You good?
Good, mate. How are you?
Man.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm just in the park at the minute.
Yeah.
If you're all right with questions being thrown at you, I'll pass over to Rich and he can start us off.
Yeah. Hit me with them. Hit me.
Yeah, we're gonna hit you.
Try my best.
We're gonna hit you, mate. We've got some intense.
Have you got some?
Have
you?
Been researching like last couple of days. Like
we take this seriously, mate.
Really?
Going back through.
I don't know. Is it gonna be? I bet you. I don't know. Let's see. We'll see what you've got. Because I always get the same questions. So
do you?
Oh, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how we compare to other people.
Oh, I get the same stuff.
So, I mean, first thing I wanted to kick off with, obviously, like you're a history maker in terms of, you know, your whole City career, first £1 million player, scored the first winner in the Premier League, but your City career started off quite a long time before that, didn't it? With a loan move from Leeds.
Yes.
And you've only played one game, so, you know, you're a young lad trying to find your way in the game. I was just interested in what that move was like for you and what the experience of being a young kid away from home and trying to establish yourself in the game, really. What's that like?
It was interesting because prior to that loan move, I'd actually been on loan at Ruston and Diamonds. And, you know, being at Leeds United and the age I was, it was quite a new thing of a player from my kind of youth team going on loan. I think I was like the first one to go on loan, so it was quite a new thing at the time. So it's a bit daunting for me at that moment, but it was that age I kind of realised that it wasn't. I mean, I was always in my head. I was thinking, it's not going to be at Leeds United. See, I was one of those kind of youth players. Whether the other players were more, I guess, you know, biding their time. They're at Leeds United. You know, maybe one day I'll make it at Leeds. But I was always thinking beyond that.
You always felt like your future was away from Leeds.
Yeah, I was just kind of more of a realist, you know. I wasn't kind of never had my head in the clouds kind of thing. So going to Ruston and Diamonds was a massive learning experience for myself. It was amazing in terms of just the learning and the teaching and just the experience of playing league football and just being around, you know, league football itself. But it kind of was, you know, mentally took its toll as the time I was there, as, you know, it was a bit of a whirlwind experience. So on my return back to Leeds, I was then found myself, there's a few other options to go on loan, and one being Hull. And I don't know if I was ready at the time to go straight away because I'd just come back from my previous experience. So it just all happened a bit too quick, and I just felt like I wasn't really ready, to be honest. But I ended up just going along with it anyway. But having said that, again, it was another learning experience, though. So it was nothing of regret. It was more so I took some massive learnings from that time. I remember a lot of the guys, Rodney Rowe in particular.
We had Rodney on a few weeks ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Rodney
was
good.
Rodney was really keen to share with us and wants to come back and do another one. He was proper up for it. But he joined. I think what was it? Early. It was New Year's Eve, I think. So he'll have been there when you were.
Season before you came in.
Yeah. So he was talking about his experiences and stuff. But obviously, he was in his career then, and you were much younger.
Well,
you were a young player, weren't you? So
yeah. I remember Rodney Rowe, Huddersfield, right?
He's from Huddersfield.
See,
yeah, he still lives around the area, I think.
So I remember him. I remember watching him when I was young, you see, because my dad was a Huddersfield season ticket holder.
Right.
So I used to go to see Huddersfield games like when I was a kid, like every week.
Because he did his YTS there. He was telling us about some of the experiences with some of the other YTS coaches that he had, and trying to sharpen up and make sure that he's actually going to make it as a footballer. That sort of thing. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. I just found when at my time I was only a young lad at Hull, but he was as a senior player, he was just like he had that welcoming kind of energy, and he just kind of. As a young lad, you're seeking like help, and someone like me, I'm trying to like learn and grow. I'm not someone who's just unappreciative of those things. So I was always aware of certain people, and
it'd have been a big contrast. I would have thought when you did your loan move, would have been at Boothferry Park.
Boothferry Park, yeah.
So then when you come like 6 years later on and you sign for us permanently as our record signing, it'll have been a very different experience tipping up at the KC, wouldn't it?
Oh, it's great. I'm actually I'm so grateful I had the chance to play at Boothferry Park, because I'm one of those guys. I like the old vintage stadiums, and like those times.
With all that pitch was a dream. The pitch was a dream for you as well, wasn't it?
Oh, the pitch was unbelievable, yeah. But I used to love kind of those throwback stadiums, and we just don't really have many of them left anymore.
Separate stands as well, because obviously South Stand and some of the others weren't necessarily linked together. Like it was West Stand wasn't linked, was it? And then you had the open terraces at the end where the away fans usually would be.
Yeah, it was packed as well. I remember it being packed. Just had that real kind of league feel. I was, it was quite of an eye opener for me at that time. It was, it was cool. I remember, Laurie Duffield, Gary Alexander.
Yeah,
they used to bang every week. They were just banging goals for fun.
Yeah.
we had Laurie on as well. He was our first ex-player that we had on. We had Laurie on.
Yeah, I remember him and Gary Alexander. They were awesome. Yeah. Like in terms of the scoring, I was like, wow, okay. And I remember Theo Whitmore and Goodison. Yeah. I remember those two guys.
What was Theo like to play with?
Oh my God, this guy was unbelievable. Honestly, he was a talent, mate.
Everyone always says about him, people think he should have played higher and are amazed that he never did.
Yeah, I mean, I was a young lad, and I was coming from Leeds United, so I've been training with all these, big players at Leeds United, and I remember being at Hull, and he was someone that I could have seen. He just reminded me of being at Leeds United, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense.
It's like a top class player who would just fit.
Yeah, just like in training and stuff, like his abilities. I was like, oh, okay, this guy's.
This guy's got a bit.
He's got something. I'm like, his passes. I was like, oh shit, I've got. Excuse me.
No, you're okay. You're fine.
Right. Don't worry.
Yeah. So he used to always think like, oh, he can find me. But no, he was someone who definitely caught my eye back then. But I remember my time there pretty well. It was a short time, but I remember.
Was you just that you were a month loan, were you? Was you a month loan?
I think it ended up being a month. Yeah, it might have been 3, but as I said, it all came a bit soon. I wasn't really ready to go there at the time. I just wanted to get back to Leeds and just get back in my routine again.
Yeah, it's being out of your comfort zone, I guess, is something that as a young player you need to kind of toughen yourself up with as well, and that'd have fulfilled it, wouldn't it? Like going down the leagues and playing with different style of players, and then trying to learn from that and take it back to where you were at Leeds. It'd have done your performance and your development a whole lot of good, I would have imagined.
Oh, massively. I think it's only just because I just finished a loan prior to the whole one. So
yeah,
I just wanted to just settle just a little bit before kind of assessing what was next, but just came a bit too soon. But like I said, I still took my learnings from that, and I do remember like my time there very well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, you made that move. If we fast forward kind of like 6 or 7 years down the line, you're at Wigan. You're a more established player, and it was a time of a lot of change for City. We were sort of moving from being a team that had avoided relegation the year before. Obviously, Paul Duffin had come in and taken the club over with Russell Bartlett, so there was some money about the place, and they come looking at you, and the fee ended up being the first £1 million fee that City paid out. Obviously, you played against us, I think, a few days before for Wigan in the cup. So, how did that move come about, and what was it about City that you sort of thought, okay, this is the move for me. I can drop down a division here and I'll have a bit of this.
You know what's so funny about the whole thing? Again, it was a situation where it just came too soon in a way, because I know it sounds crazy, but prior to that, I just got a move to Wigan from Chesterfield. It was like a big thing for me, big step. And I was only just kind of just settling in at Wigan. I'd just come at the back end of the season before. We stayed up in the Premier League, and it was the next season was my fresh start, so to speak. So I was kind of just getting my feet wet, really. I was trying to adapt to a whole new environment in the Premier League. And then obviously with Paul Jewell resigning and things changing, it just, I was learning in football how things can change really quickly in terms of, managers and, they've got to look after, they've got a different vision, or they see things a different way. They've got to look out for themselves.
We've heard this from a few players. I think they've kind of said basically that, if they come in and even they never know it's never personal, but sometimes they just don't fancy you. And if you're being realistic, you're like, I need to go somewhere else, because otherwise I'm just going to end up on the bench or with the under 23s or reserves as it would have been then. And you need to kind of make a move to make sure your career keeps going, don't you? Really.
It's true, yeah. And to be fair to Wigan, Chris Hutchins, who took over at the time,
yeah,
I remember. We had a conversation, and he was fair to me, and he said, "Listen, I don't really want you to go. I'd rather have you here, but I can't promise you that you'll play."
Yeah, but you appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, and I really appreciated that. That's what I'm always. That's the kind of person I am, face value.
Yeah.
So I really kind of appreciated that, and as much as I had several years on my contract there, still it kind of just dawned on me, and I didn't even expect to be a starter for Wigan at that time, of course, either. But it just allowed me to be more open to other opportunities, so to speak. I was a bit more comfortable in just listening and seeing what was out there, and obviously with the whole thing that came about, I was really indecisive. I wasn't sure at all until I met with Phil Brown. I physically went to go meet with Phil Brown, and I really liked him. I just really liked the guy. Like, he was just like a breath of fresh air. In terms of the places I was prior, the managers that I had, he was just very different. He was just very laid back. He was, really calm. And it just felt like a breath of fresh air. I was like, oh, wow. Like, I kind of just didn't feel as tense anymore. Kind of just felt relaxed, and
it just felt right, I suppose, did it?
It felt right, yeah. And I was just really, really up for it, I guess. I was like, I said to myself, okay, here we go again then. It's like another
move.
Another move. Yeah, but I wasn't really thinking about the drop in the leagues either. That wasn't even a mindset. I was just more thinking about how I felt within myself, what felt comfortable, what felt right. That was kind of like my first trail of thought. And
was it right for you first off, and then sort of that came secondary?
Yeah, because like I said, I was really indecisive prior to meeting Phil Brown. Like, I wasn't sure whether I was going to stay at Wigan. I just got there, or go elsewhere. And just meeting with Phil Brown. It was in that moment I just felt right, yeah, and I felt good about it. So
But I don't know
I
if you
just went
felt
with
as
that.
you didn't know if you
Yeah.
felt as good in your debut because it didn't go too well at Blackpool, did it? Because you got taken to hospital. Didn't
Yeah, that wasn't that wasn't in the script. But,
yeah.
so, oh, it's quite funny, man, when I look back at that.
I bet it wasn't at the
Big,
time,
big,
like, but
big
No.
debut live on TV.
Wait, what was the score in that
lost
game?
2-1.
We lost. I think Ben Burgess scored for Blackpool, if I remember right.
Yeah,
But Ashby scored for us, didn't he?
He did, yes.
God,
Yeah.
but...
And I remember like stepping over it. I remember like dummying it for him.
yeah.
I don't know if you remember. I was like,
I
okay,
do,
at least
yeah.
I was, yeah. So I was
Yeah,
trying to think. I was trying to find any positive that I could.
At least I got the assist for Ash, even if I am in hospital.
Yeah.
They all
At
count.
least I was like involved in one of the goals. But yeah, what a nightmare that was. But football, man. Those things happen.
Shit happens, I suppose, doesn't it?
I know it happens. I was like, oh god.
Did you know? Did you know anything about JJ Okocha coming in at that time? Because he was in the stands to watch that game.
I knew nothing about it. No. At the time, I don't remember knowing anything about it until I think after that. But I don't remember knowing prior to that.
Right. So it was never discussed with you like prior. Got plans to bring him in. I just wondered if it might be a selling, like a selling point
maybe it
to a
was
young
actually. Maybe. I think there was a few names floating about.
Yeah.
Other than his, I think Phil Brown mentioned a few players and.
Yeah, because we had Juninho in talks and stuff like that. It was.
I
like
remember a few names, but it was all a bit of a blur at the same time, if you know what I mean.
So you'd be trying to take everything in,
speaking
weren't you?
of,
and you weren't remember everything
yeah.
that's said to you, but I bet that was an experience playing with JJ.
Yeah, that was crazy as well. Yeah, JJ Okocha. To be fair, you know who, going back to Whitmore, he kind of reminded me of JJ in a way.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah.
Honestly, that's exactly what I kind of thought initially. I was like,
the same sort of aura and talent and just...
Yeah, it's that kind of calmness on the ball in training. But yeah, that was amazing as well to get the chance to... Oh, it's just making me think of some of the training sessions with JJ. Oh my God. What a legend.
I remember him undressing Alex Bruce in a game against Ipswich. He took him one way and then he flipped him back the other. And it's
yeah.
we know from watching Alex Bruce for a few years here that he's not necessarily an easy defender to do. So when he did it twice in quick succession,
just like effortlessly.
Yeah, completely.
Ended him twice, one way or the other. See ya.
Yeah.
there was moments in training though where we'd just be laughing, like literally stood there laughing. Some of the stuff he'd do, you just couldn't help but just laugh.
Is it like some of those videos you see of Ronaldinho, when the ball's just booted high in the air and he kills it with one touch and then just flip-flaps it through someone's legs? Is it that sort of stuff that he kept trying to do?
That sort of stuff. Yeah. Oh, mate. And he just always have a smile on his face, like, just laughing.
Yeah, and he could be angry.
I think he was just at that. Yeah, I think he was just at that stage in his career where, I mean, what can you tell JJ Okocha at that point in his career? I think that went for anyone, Gaffer. No, we just had to accept him as he is, and there's not really much you could tell him or say to him.
He'd probably just laugh.
Embrace him.
Anything you said, he'd probably just laugh.
Exactly. Yeah. I know.
He'd just say, "Yeah, man, that's fine, whatever."
Yeah, but wow, what a guy though.
Because you had a few more injuries as well, didn't you? That first season, it must have been a bit of a frustrating time at first.
Yeah, I had a few little niggles.
Your ankle was the main one, I think, wasn't it?
I can't remember what injuries exactly. It's kind of a blur, a lot of my injuries, but I remember just a few niggles.
It's a bit of a stop-start.
Bad time. Yeah.
To the time at Hull.
Exactly, and you never really want that. You just want to get going, but. I used to just say to them, be patient with myself more than anything. It's out of my control. There's not much I can do. So I think at the same time, though, I think that allowed me just to settle in a different way,
Yeah.
just in terms of being around the lads and taking things in.
The pressure of the game's removed, and you can sort of focus on how you stand in the squad as such, you know.
Yeah, just kind of, because I'm big on just like adapting to your surroundings and new people. I'm big on, people's energies and just being around new people in general. So it was good just to have that time to absorb that and kind of naturally
So,
allow that to grow,
I mean, that links quite nicely with what I was going to ask you next, because by the time you were sort of able to get a run of games and, in a position where you could find yourself in the team, of course, Fraser Campbell had come in. And you say about the energy that you like to play off on other players. Yourself, Fraser, and Dino seem to have this amazing chemistry between you as a three, even though you very rarely played as a three. Could you talk about that for us a little bit?
Fraser coming in. I didn't know much about Fraser, but he was just a good energy, a good lad. And I kind of warmed to Fraser like straight away. And obviously Dean Windass, that kind of experience. It's always a blessing to have someone like that in your team anyway. And I don't know, I just think we had, if you look at all three of us, I think just the dynamics are just so different, like each of us individually. We just brought something different. So we just had a different dynamic. And I don't know, it was just an organic thing. It just kind of worked as it worked, I mean, I used to love playing with both Dino and Fraser, not together as a three, but like individually as a two.
Yeah, because it didn't matter who seemed to get picked between the three of you. It was always two,
we always
but the
had
two were always effective.
Yes. We all, especially with Dino, he just kind of knew. I was a runner, so
well, Dino appreciated that because it meant you didn't have to do it.
Yeah, I was a runner, you see. He was always kind of aware of my runs and the space that I like to go in. So, Dino with his experience, he can kind of adapt to those.
He knew where you were all the time, didn't he? It was that intuition between you. And then obviously with Fraser coming from United, it was like the young kid. If Dino can play 2 games a week, could he? He can play 2 lots of 90 minutes. So you'd need, the legs. You were a worker and a runner, but Fraser could do that as well. So you had
Fraser as well, exactly. Yeah. And there was times when me and Fraser played together, and it was just pure energy because we both kind of
a defensive were able to themselves. If you two,
we just had the energy. We just wanted to just work and work and work. I remember one time against, it might have been Wolves at home. I remember, we was in training, like the gaffer used to work on pressing from the top. So been, the forwards and then, midfielders. I remember one time against Wolves, it went from the left back to the centre half to the right back, and both me and Fraser were just closing down like together. The left back, the centre halves, all the way to the right back. Unbelievable. I remember looking and seeing, I think it was Mick McCarthy, might have been the manager. I remember looking, and I just remember looking at the manager's face. They were like, "Oh God!" I just could see it I could see it in his eyes. I remember the look. He knew he was in for it.
That's definitely something I think City fans love that. The high press and the energy and the determination to win the ball. And that's probably, that's why City fans kind of reacted so well to that. I think Richard probably backed me up on that, but.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely, it's one of the reasons why I, enjoyed watching Fraser and yourself, and I love that kind of thing. Just that determination and desire, not just to win the ball back, and it's not just aimless running, but that application and all of that. I think it's a very Hull City trait, and I think the crowd does respond to it very well.
And honesty,
definitely. And we did work a lot on that. The emphasis a lot of the time was to press from the top and. With purpose, and also for myself anyway. I know the start of a game, it used to be something that would get me really kind of in tune with the game if I could just start the game like that, if I could just get out there and make a block or just, kind of clatter someone in a way,
it would straight away.
Yeah, that would really kind of get me connected like instantly to the game. So I always used to love to try and start games that way all the time.
100% right away, steaming in, all of that.
Yeah.
Right, we're all back.
All right.
I was going to ask you about a specific game. I don't know if you remember it well. You probably do, because I think Rich has some other games he wants to ask you about. And I think you was a West Brom game, weren't you, Rich? I think.
Many games over the course of this season. I remember Caleb scoring big goals, so I've got a lot of questions.
But I probably can't remember most of them, to be honest.
One of the ones I remember really well was where both sides ended with 9 men, the Burnley game in March 2008. I don't know if you remember that one. You got sent off, but there were also 3 other players
got
sent off. Yeah.
Oh, see what I mean? See how that's blurry to me, you see. I can't fully remember it.
We won 2-0 at home, but both sides ended with 9 men.
I vaguely do remember that, but
two Burnley players got second yellows, but you got sent off. I can't remember.
JJ got sent off. That was it.
JJ. What did I get sent off for?
Lashing out, I think. So I think you got a 3-game ban when I looked at my notes.
Oh, God, maybe. Because I remember we did the watch along and Fagan was telling me about a red card I got. And I was like,
yeah, we briefly talked about that with Craig, because that was, you watched along the game where it was Folan at home, the first game.
Yeah, he must have been on about that one, because all I could remember was the Liverpool one. But he must have been on about this one you're on about. I can't remember.
When I found, because I found that you'd got red carded, but you weren't the only player to get red carded. There was 3 others. I went and looked at the article, and it said that both you and JJ got sent off for off the ball incidents. So I assumed it was shithousery from Burnley, and you just ended somebody.
I think it was. I think it was probably
I think it was set up, man. I didn't do nothing. It wasn't me.
Mike Riley was the referee, so I'm willing to bet that he got both decisions wrong.
That's fair enough.
I reckon he could have, because I can't really remember it, to be honest. So I don't know what I actually did.
When I looked at this,
would remember.
You got sent off on 70 minutes. Then Caldwell got sent off for Burnley. Then Okocha got sent off 5 minutes later on 76. And then Good Johnson got sent off 1 minute later for Burnley. So by 80 minutes, it was 9 aside.
Yeah, I just remember feeling like I didn't do nothing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it was probably an injustice, but
yeah, 100%. Because I would remember if I actually did, because I remember like my Liverpool red card, like everything about it.
Yeah.
So like those kind of things, you remember if you like actually did something.
Yeah,
and then so you get sent off in that game. You're suspended 3, and then the one that you come back in is one that I wanted to talk about was the Colchester away game, because that was great fun for me. Like I'd gone the year before when we'd lost 5-1, and then to go again on this night, it had obviously been rearranged from earlier in the season with some ridiculous thing with the pitch that
So happened. This is the one where I came on, right, and scored.
Yes, and it's the one where having read.
I've never told the story about this game, Well, I don't think anybody knows. Like,
well, we've got an exclusive
reason for my celebration or anything. I've never told this story ever.
We'll go for it, because that's what we want to hear. It was a great game.
This is where you were left on the bench, wasn't it?
Yes. You're gonna laugh at this. It's a funny story.
I can't wait for this story. I'll be honest.
Let's. Should we get it out there? There's
no
reason why not now. It's been years. So. That was Tuesday night, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Yeah, it was.
So the Saturday before, who did we play at home?
Southampton.
And we won, right?
Absolutely battered them, yeah. 1-5.
Yeah, it should have been about 10, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so after that game in the changing room, everyone in good spirits. Duffin, the chairman, comes in, and when we had a good result, he'd come in, he would just like go around to each of the lads and shake their hands and whatnot, just have a little chat. And he got round to me, and it sounds so crazy when I say that. He got round to me, and he asked me what I was up to that night, Saturday night. Are you out for a drink? Because he used to stay in Leeds. And I remember saying, yeah, I might pop out for a drink. And he goes, oh, cool. I might see you out. And then before we left, the gaffer actually said to us, right, everybody in tomorrow morning, have a cool down. We've got a game Tuesday, so, no one go out tonight kind of thing. And I was like, okay, cool. And then me just thinking that I might be able to get away with just going out for a few drinks. I went out that night just for a few drinks, of course.
Not a mad one.
And not a mad one. But I walked into the bar and I saw bloody Phil Duffin there, right? The chairman at the bar.
Duffin's at the bar when you told not
Duffin's at the bar. And I'm like, we both looked at each other and I was like, how are you doing? You all right? And his first words were, you're not supposed to be in tomorrow. And I said to him, yeah, I think the lads are in, but I'm not in tomorrow. I didn't know what to say, so I just said that.
Just style it out.
And,
Yeah, cool.
and he was like, all right, cool. And he started just buying me drinks like all night, pretty much. So, so I had one too many, obviously, but, I managed to get myself home at a reasonable hour.
Mm.
Now, the funny bit is the morning comes and, my phone's pinging and it's what I think is my answer phone. So I'm reaching over and I'm just snoozing it. And then for the third time I've done it, I've just woke up and realized it wasn't my alarm clock, it was my phone ringing. And it was Brian Horn.
Assistant manager.
And I've answered it. And he's just like raging down the phone. And I've looked at the time and it's like just 10:30. And I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. I've slept in and I've just realized and I'm like, oh God, this is just really, really bad. So I've slept in. He's hammered me on the phone. I didn't know what to say. I'm just like, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've slept in. He's hammering me. You've gone out, and you've gone out. You've effing gone out. And I'm like, oh, look, I'm sorry. I've gone out. Yeah. It's gone where you can answer to the gaffer later. I was like, and he hung up, and I was like, oh God. So me there at home panicking. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to drive all the way in or what. So I remember ringing Maltby, the physio. He was normally, he had the inside info. Mm. So I'd ring him and I'd be asking him, what do I do? What do I do? And he's kind of just giving me no words of wisdom or anything. He's just kind of, oh, Cal, I don't know, mate. He kind of just left me out to dry on that one. So anyway, I've just kind of stayed at home and waited for my phone to ring. And the gaffers rang me later on in the afternoon, laughing, basically. He was laughing, but he wasn't too angry. But, I think at that stage, we both know that I messed up. So, yeah, he said, I'll see you tomorrow. And got in, and obviously I wasn't in the starting lineup. I was on the bench. And, no, the gaffer and especially the assistant, he wasn't too happy with me. But anyway, he puts me on, doesn't he, towards the end. And Dean Marnie just played me through. And I've just sprinted onto it, managed to score a goal. And first thing I could think of is just celebrating like that with my hands on my ear like I've gone to sleep. And no one knew, apart from all the lads and everyone in the team, no one else probably knew what that meant at the time. But that was what it was, because I slept in. So I was kind of just...
I thought you meant that you put the game to bed. That's
exactly. It. Everyone thought that, but no, it was like an inside joke. It was because I slept in. That was the story, and that kind of put everything to bed. So after that, everything was okay.
They didn't hold anything against you.
No.
As soon as they fine you and stuff, and then just get on with it.
Yeah, I think I got fined and whatnot. The good thing about Hull is, you'd be treated, you stepped out of line, you get punished for it, and then you'd move on. Nothing would
it's not
ever be held against you. Yeah. It was like a family kind of environment. You stepped out of line, you got told off, you faced consequences, and then we just move on, and that's how it always was at Hull.
I mean, if you're going to score big goals after a night on the pitch, you could go out every night, couldn't you?
I just thought that was the first time I've ever publicly told that story. Honestly, I've got loads of stories, but
well, we want to hear as many as you can tell us. To be fair, but do you know what?
I think that's enough. I think this one's just enough for this evening. The others, I don't know. I don't know when the others will come out.
I'd like to know if Duffin came in after you'd scored that goal at Colchester and said anything about the fact that it was him who was plastering you with drinks.
I don't know, actually. I can't remember. I don't know if any of that came to light, but
because I'd have been straight away and I'd be like, well, if you're going to blame me, fucking chairman over there was one who was buying me.
Yeah. What are the chances though? Walking to the bar, chairman's there. I didn't know what to say, so I just absolutely told the biggest lie ever.
Yeah, I'm not in tomorrow, just me.
Yeah, not in tomorrow. I had 2 drinks in my hand anyway. I was like, oh, God. And I'm bloody slept in. Can you believe it? Normally, I'm the first one in as well. I'd be always the first one in training.
They must have knew something was up when you weren't first one in training. He's fucking gone out straight away. Orton's on the play. I
was like, damn, what have I done, man? That's not like me. Come on, do better. But yeah, I was so glad I got that goal though, because
that shut everybody up, didn't it?
Oh mate, that was just like, thank you. I needed that. It just made everything right after that, I remember Bri coming up to me after, just looking at me oh, you go with that one, mate.
Don't make a habit of this.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, won't happen again, promise.
I mean, it must have worked for you anyway, because it kicked off a great run of form for you. The next game we went to Leicester and you scored a massive goal there.
Yeah. I think just the group of lads, I think in training, we had such chemistry, all the players as a team. We all knew each other's strengths. We all just gelled in a certain way. So we all was always confident within each other, was always confident we could look at someone across the change room and be confident in every single player, each of us. So, on the pitch, I was always confident that, we could create and do stuff. So it was just, I don't know, just the timing, I guess. It just worked out all right at that moment. I was probably due a little bit of luck anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were, given the way the season had gone for you.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think we've probably skipped past the West Brom game, but I wanted to talk about that as well. I remember that game so well because we played them at home not long before, and I don't know how much you remember of it, but the home game, it was they had the edge because I think they were top of the league at the time, and we sort of stood toe to toe with them, and the away game came around quite quickly, and it was we were starting to put the run together that saw us get to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the home game was in January, and then the return when we went to them was the end of February, so it was only about 6 weeks.
It was. Yeah. So,
yeah.
And you score a massive goal again that day. Can you talk to us about what that game was like? Because that was the one for me where it was Hull City mean business.
You know what? That game, when Fraser got the ball and he just put it in the top corner?
Pinged it, yeah.
The first game.
I remember the first goal. I remember just thinking, right at that moment, you know what? I just felt I felt something. I don't know what it was, but I felt like we're going places at that moment. Honestly, as soon as he just put it in the top corner, I was like, oh, you know what? Hull City, yeah. I just felt something good, and I wasn't even. I don't know if you look back at that game and you just look at my reaction when the ball goes in. It's just it's normal because Fraser would do that daily in training. Normal, he would do that daily. So if you look back at that goal, you look at my reaction. I'm just started jogging towards him.
Honestly, Fraser doing Fraser things.
Yeah, it was just because I'd see that every day, so it wasn't a surprise to me. It's so bizarre. It just felt so normal, and in that moment, with it feeling so normal, I just thought, "Ooh, this is special." To feel like it was so normal,
There was some
just-
recently. Obviously, you know, with lockdown and everything, Hull have been, or the Twitter account have been putting goals up. You know, goal of the day and all of that. And last week, that goal that you scored at West Brom was one of the ones that got, you know, put up by the club. And I just remember seeing, like, Rich, I presume you were there at that game, weren't you?
Yeah, you can see me celebrating the goals like an idiot.
I didn't know.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
all the footage.
I didn't know if it was.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was you. It looked like you. I didn't know if it was. But you can
Yeah.
see everybody like rushing to what, like, the fans went absolutely mental, didn't they? That game.
Oh,
Yeah,
The fans were starting to
mental.
believe then as well, weren't they?
Yeah, I
That
remember.
was the thing. Like your celebration afterwards, like you with a calm in the storm. You looked cool as a
Yeah, he
cucumber.
just stood there.
You
just,
know what
like,
it was? It's
actioning
like-
towards the fans. It was quality, that.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when you're away, especially that stadium, and you've got your fans all kind of shut in one section.
Yeah.
It's almost like you could hear a pin drop all around behind you.
Yeah.
Apart from, like, you know, your focus was just on your fans. All you could hear, it was silent other than Hull fans at that moment. And it was just like, I remember just even, I was a bit taken myself. I was like, turned, looking towards the Hull fans, like, whoa. It just felt like energy. I was just like, come on, give me that energy. Like,
You were
I was
feeding off
just
that,
like, I
weren't
had
you?
my hand up. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But I remember scoring and running over there. And I just remember seeing the joy in everyone. I just remember laughing. I think I was pointing at someone like, I'm sure I was just pointing at someone because everyone just looked so happy, man. I just couldn't believe it.
It was when the camera cuts back to you, you're just gesturing towards somebody, as in, like, pointing them out, like, not a problem.
Yeah,
Doing
just
this
like-
all the time, mate. Don't worry about it.
Lifting your hand up almost like, you know, this is big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just the energy, man. I was like, come on. I just remember just like raising my left hand up, like, yes, yes, yes. And I remember even walking away after, just Fraser just calling me. And I remember just waiting for him to come over. And he was just right. I remember, I don't know what he said, but it was probably something stupid like, yeah, that's right, that's right. You know, it was just something casual, like it was nothing like, yeah, that's right. Like, he always used to do that phrase. It's like, yeah, good, that's right. It was never, oh, get in there, come on. It was always just something, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It was always that with him. What a guy.
We all love Fraser Campbell. Well, we do on this podcast.
Yeah, without doubt.
Yeah,
He's a
we
great
on
guy,
one of the
man.
first episodes. I think it was the second episode. Maybe we talked about favourite players, and he was up there with yours, wasn't he, Rich? And I know
He's one of my all-time favourites.
it's very
Yeah.
close to
Oh,
him.
that was my guy, man. He was my guy. Him and Doyley, they were like my two. Because Fraser was my roommate and Doyley was my roommate. But obviously Doyley, like, didn't always come on the away trips.
Yeah.
So it was like me and Fraser. Fraser was my roommate.
I think funny story about Doyle. I mentioned this on the very first episode. I never got to it. Like, Nathan Doyle currently is still with a club called East Hull that are in, like, the lowest rung of the professional league, which is North East Counties.
No way. He's still on their roster?
He's still playing. Yeah.
Wait till I call. I'm going to call him after this.
You make sure you do it. I've been trying to get him to listen to the podcast, and he's just like, "Yeah, I
I
don't have
will.
Spotify. I can't do it." Like,
You know what? I spoke to him last week and he said to me, you know what? We should have our own slot on the podcast. He said they should get us on there just telling some right stories.
mate, I'll have to message him as well, because I'd love to get Doyley on. Doyley is amazing, honestly.
Oh, mate, you've got to get Doyley on, please.
The banter that he's got is ridiculous.
I'm telling you now, yeah.
I'll tell you how it came about. Basically, I was playing, like, at an amateur level. My good mate Josh Barnes, who is East Hull manager now, he went in after Dino, because Dino was manager there. He was one of Dino's, like, you know, little stints in the game, and then because he had so much to do with work, he kind of stepped back. And my mate Josh went in, and he got me in to do all the media and, you know, the press officer stuff. He got me in to do that, so I kind of knew Donny from there. And Josh was like, just train with the squad, because obviously I wasn't playing then. And he was just like, well, just come down for fitness and train. So I was like, on a weekly basis getting megged by Doyley, and he was just ruining me every single time. He'd just like do it and just go, "Oh, you all right there, Fladders? You all right there? Don't fucking cry, will you? Don't cry." And honestly, the amount of people, I just laughed it off, but the amount of people that he'd do that to and just absolutely destroy even now. But the thing is about him, it's like he's 33 or 34. He's not really old.
It's ridiculous.
He's still he still could be playing. I think he's just he wants to spend a lot of time with his kids, I think. But he still lives. He still lives around the area of Hull. So
yeah, he's still up Hull way. Yeah, I think everyone's built different. You know, it's like not everyone has the same mindset, and it's not even a bad thing.
No.
Just not everyone has that same mindset of playing. So they're like late 30s, and we all reach a point where our heart kind of desires something else, or our heart kind of takes us somewhere else, and I look at it as a blessing, not as a negative. You just got to follow your heart and just, stay true to yourself.
I'd definitely love to get you on again with Doyley, because I think some of the stories you'd get. Me and Richard just shut up and just let you two talk.
I don't even know if we could get away with half of the stories, honestly. Like, me and Doyley speak regular, and we always mention, like, it always starts with a story. Like, it always like, Doyley, do you remember? And he'll be like, oh my God. And then he'll just remember. The thing is with him, he remembers every detail of everything.
Memory, hasn't he? He'd always,
his memory's frightening. Like, sometimes I'll forget stuff and then it'll come to me later. But me and him, like, he'll just remember something and it'll make me remember something. We just kind of bounce off each other. But, the stories, me and Doyley. Jeez. That is a book. I'm telling you, that is a book by itself. That is an absolute book.
There was another game I think you wanted to ask about, Rich? Do you want to go and move on to the playoffs?
Yes, let's do that.
Playoffs, awesome.
Yeah, because you weren't involved in you weren't in the starting 11 for either of the semi-finals or the final itself. In fact,
for the Watford,
Yeah, so like we've gone from the Ipswich away game, last game of the season. There was an outside chance that we were going to get automatic promotion, but now you've got your minds are focused on the playoffs. You've got 3 games to make history for City. Was that spoken about? I mean, what was the mood in the squad like in the build up to those 2 games against Watford?
I just remember nothing feeling like a negative. It was always positive mindset, even as you said, like, it could have gone a different way. And now we found ourselves in the playoffs. It was always led by a positive. So the spirit was always at a high. It was never at a point of dip. The spirit was always at a high. So our kind of mindset was, okay, we just got some more games to go, kind of thing. It was always like a natural kind of flow. It's like a continuation almost of the form that we had. And it's just like
because you must have all been enjoying. You must have been enjoying your football at that time. So why stop?
We were just flowing, man, like water. We were just like, we was on the vibe. We were just going with it. It was always going to be like, the finals a different story. You couldn't even write that. It was just, it's beautiful. It's the history and, Dean scoring a goal. You can't write that, man. That is just meant to be,
Yeah.
But I just remember especially the Watford game, I've never felt so comfortable. I mean, I know I wasn't like starting in the games, but I still, what I mean by the spirit and the team spirit, I still felt like I was a part of that game. I still felt like I was involved. I never once thought I wasn't a part of the team or not even involved, I still thought like, I'm playing here. I'm still with the team here. And that was the energy within the camp.
That feeling's probably part of what... Yeah, it must be. And it's probably what goes into making a team that challenges at the sharp end of the division, that kind of spirit 100%. And the togetherness.
When you've got lads who, somewhere you may, you want to play, you want to be on the pitch, and sometimes you may feel like you should be, but when you're in that scenario and you've got the whole kind of majority of your army kind of just on, on the same page, and that's just a recipe for just beautiful things, And it just always felt like that, and I don't know, we were just comfortable. We just had belief. We were just, them Watford games, even that Watford away, just flowed, man. I remember just watching the highlights of that last week, actually.
Yeah, the away game was the whole of it was shown, wasn't it, the other week?
Yeah. I was watching bits of that, and I was like, yeah, just look at this. Yeah.
It was a great day. I went down for it with my dad and my brother.
Yeah, sun was shining. That white kit was on. I love that white kit.
That white kit is a thing of beauty.
It was just like perfect. I was like, oh no, the sun's out. It's dangerous for them today. Whole city with that white kit and the sun out. Oh my gosh, something's going on that day. I just felt sorry for them, honestly, because
there's so much of that day felt like it was destined to be, because you have the two Hull lads scoring the big goals. They have a goal disallowed. Boaz has an absolute blinder of a game, and John Eustace, their captain, gets sent off. It's like it's all coming up City.
It's so funny, like that game just felt like it didn't feel like a playoff game. It felt like just a normal game to me.
Just another league game.
Until it was the second leg, the leg at home. That felt real.
Yeah.
That it felt totally different. That first leg just felt like a normal game.
Yeah, that first, from a fan's point of view, it was like a party, the first leg, and then the second one, it was like we were comfortable at 2-0 going into it, but then of course
they score early on,
Henderson gets that early goal, it's like, all right, business now.
That evening felt, man, I still think now, right, and I don't know, obviously you have your own opinion, but to me, the energy in that stadium, in terms of the atmosphere, the fans, and the combination of the occasion and what was at stake, I've never ever felt the KC like that ever.
Nope.
Like that.
No.
As a player on the pitch, I've never ever felt it like that evening ever.
We had, I think it was our first or second episode, we were talking about our favourite home games ever, and that is my favourite home game of all time. And I've been going to City for a long time. For that reason, it was different, with like a capital D. It was just different.
You know what? I've got a really, really deep story about that game, but I want Doyley. I want to save it for when you speak to Doyley, right? Because Doyley came on and he got that kind of goal.
Yeah. Doyley turned it. I think I said Doyley turned into Rivaldo for those two legs of the playoffs. He was absolutely fantastic.
Wait till he tells you the story around him coming on, scoring that goal, his celebration. Wait till he tells you that story. You won't believe it. I want to tell you about. I just want him to say it. It's more fitting coming from him.
That gives us more excuse to get you back on with him, to be fair. So I'll take that.
It's just, you won't believe it. It's a thing of beauty. I'm telling you now. It's like, when you talk about things are meant to be, when you hear that story, you will not believe it. I'm telling you, man, you won't believe it.
So tell us, if you can't tell us about Doyley's goal, tell us about yours. Because I just remember you coming out onto Sam Rickett's cross, and you looked absolutely bloody massive getting on the end of that. It was
flying through the air with
he is Caleb Folan. Yeah. What a force stopped me.
I knew as soon as Sam was in that position and he was about to clip it in, I knew where it was going. Like, it was only going to go one place, and if no defender was on me, it was always going to be a goal. I knew that. The only thing was, I thought, is the keeper going to come, or is he not, or is he going to, you know what I mean? The only thing I was thinking about, am I going to clatter the keeper? But the keeper was he was shook, wasn't he? He didn't know what to do.
He's caught in no man's land, wasn't
he? No man's land. And I thought, you know what? I just sensed he wasn't kind of coming, and I was like, oh, it's all over for you. Honestly, when he didn't charge for it, I was like, what is he doing? This is a goal, mate. I knew it.
You expected to get absolutely clattered and him take it, but he didn't even come out. And
Yeah,
easy.
because if you kind of look, we kind of like the way I'm jumping, I'm kind of expecting him to rush out. I'm like, my arms are all over the place.
Yeah, you sort of made it's like you made yourself big. It was the most
Yeah,
I
unconventional
suppose it was
header.
because you were
exactly. Because I'm
thinking that you were going to
thinking
get
the
cleaned
keeper's going to
out.
come
Yeah.
and clatter me, and he didn't. And I was like, oh mate, bang! Like the easiest header of my life. Like, and I remember just running to the corner, like sliding down. And I didn't want to get up. I just wanted to lay there. And it just felt so nice just laying there. And I remember the ref saying, get yourself up now, come on.
I said, no more
I think he like threatened me with a card or something. He told me like I better get up. Otherwise, I would have just laid there for another at least 30 seconds to a minute. I was just like content, just laying. Yeah, mate. It was just like, wow. I just remember all the lads piling up one after the other. I was like, ooh, steady.
Right, we're back. So,
back.
I know you wanted to watch it to ask about the playoff final first, Rich, and then go into the next season. So,
yeah, I'm just interested in your memories from the day, really, Caleb. The playoff final. You know, we've all got ours, but what are yours?
Of the day itself.
Yeah.
I remember it feeling it didn't feel like the pressure of a playoff final. That's for one. That's for sure. I remember just at the hotel, we was all very relaxed the night before. And I think that was key in our routine as such. Would never change. It was just always the same vibe, always the same energy. It was never kind of, it was the same routine. We wouldn't kind of change anything. We'd just go about doing what we'd normally do the night before. We just kind of treat it like a normal game, so to speak.
Yeah, because Brownie didn't even have you walking around the pitch before the game, did he, to take the stadium in? It was like normal day.
We just had like a normal match day. That was kind of like our thing. Is just like we're not changing now. We're just gonna, as we are, like we had no reason to change our mindsets or our approach. It was just all about, our togetherness and just being who we are. And we didn't change anything, man. It didn't feel. I didn't feel the pressure of it, even though I wasn't starting. I sensed that amongst the group. We knew it was business, but we were still kind of just all comfortable and ready to just get the result. We just wanted to get the result.
Were you anxious watching the game at all?
Yeah, there was moments where I was. Yeah, I can't lie. There were moments where you really kind of, especially watching, almost as a substitute, thinking that I'm gonna come on at some point, and just kind of the responsibility felt huge just as a substitute watching and having to come on in that kind of scenario. I felt very conscious of every kind of play. Like every time, if I lost the ball, it was very kind of, it felt meaningful, like if I lose this ball, God, I'm going to get it. Like, everything just felt at that moment important. But there were times watching, especially towards the end, because they did have a few chances as well.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh gosh. But like I said, I don't know what to say, man. It was just one of those results where nothing could have changed that result. There's nothing that could have changed it. It wasn't meant to be any other way than what it was,
Yeah, with Winders scoring the winner and 1-0 Hull City. You're right, it did feel destined at that point.
Look at the goal that he scored. Like that, it's not normal. That's not normal.
It's not a scruffy tapping.
That's not normal. That
did he try stuff like that all the time? Like outrageous volleys from the edge of the area and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think Dino was obviously he's always strikers like that, they're naturally gifted goal scorers. So they don't feel the pressure of striking a ball, if you know what I mean. It's natural to them. They're confident in those elements of striking. I always look at it like that. Like, I was never a natural goal scorer in that mental sense. Like someone like Dino or Fraser Campbell, that was like natural for them.
Where they could just hit a ball without trying.
Yeah, like if a ball's coming over for a volley, someone like Dean Windass would already naturally be prepared. Like he would already know what he's doing. Where for someone like me, I'd probably overthink it more than someone like Dean would.
Yeah.
But that's the difference with, we see natural goal scorers. They're gifted in that sense. So if you look at that goal, how effortless it looked, right? It looked like it was normal for him.
Yeah, really did.
It was such a difficult technique, that though, wasn't it?
Oh,
because it was slightly back.
And I'm not even going to lie and say that I saw Dino do that every day in training, because I'd be lying.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
That's why it comes. It's just, I don't know how did that happen. I don't know how it happened. Like, I don't know where it came from. I don't know how. It was like it's one of the hardest. It's one of the most difficult goals I've ever seen live.
Yeah, I still think it's the best goal that's ever been scored at the new Wembley or the current Wembley.
It has to be. It has to be. Just the way he's had to adjust his body and mate, you can't. I don't know. Unbelievable. Even thinking about it now, it gets me a bit speechless.
Yeah. Well, I get emotional thinking about that day, because it was like the culmination of, not just that season's hard work, but it was like a lot of years going up and down the road with City and, seeing some awful stuff and seeing some great days. And that was the day. It was, I've got goosebumps now thinking about it.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm like, God, I'm just thinking about that goal, and it's like, wow. I just think when that went in, I can't say I knew we were going to win at that point, but I just thought, we must be going up. Because how can you top that? I used to think, how can you top that goal?
The world just can't let that happen. The universe just wouldn't work that way.
And they had a few scrappy little chances, if you remember.
Yeah,
they did. But it was very nervous moments.
But do you know what I mean? It's like, nah, we can't have that. How can you top that goal? It's it's disrespectful. There's no way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the only time I felt safe that day, once you 1-0 up, it was when Wayne Brown jumped all over Boaz at the end of the game. And that was the only time it was like, right, that's it.
The ball,
When was that? Right at the end?
Yeah, but
we've got it now. Right,
the ball, the whistle stopped when the ball went to me. Do you know that?
He grabbed it
on my chest, and I caught it and I just booted it into the crowd. My legs went. Yeah. I never felt my body just collapse. I was just like, oh God, we've done it. What?
Yeah. What was the journey like? When you went back to Hull, and then obviously you had the whole bus top parades and stuff. What was that experience like? Was it something else?
Yeah, well, we had a party after, obviously, at the hotel. I had all my friends, family there. Everyone did. It was a beautiful time, man. After, the celebrations were beautiful. The morning was rough. The morning was rough. Jeez.
Yeah.
There was half of the team there. Some lads had already gone. It was dribs and drabs in the morning.
Did you get the bus back together to Hull, or did you go your separate ways because family had come up and stuff?
It was half and half.
Right.
It was, I think the majority of us were on the coach, but at that point it was just, do what you want kind of thing.
Yeah, who cares now?
Yeah, it was pretty much just Just do what you want.
Just get me home. I've got a headache.
Yeah.
I mean,
I went back on the coach. I remember going back on the coach. Just wow. Yeah. I just remember I was like half hungover and just half like in awe of everything.
Still buzzing.
Yeah. So we're buzzing. I was buzzing probably for the next week.
I bet.
Without a shadow, man. Like, and then we had the open top bus. Oh God, unbelievable.
I mean, Hull City Centre that day was amazing. I've never felt energy like it. It was crazy.
Yeah, I've never seen nothing like it. Never felt nothing like it. Never experienced nothing like it. It was just like a one-off, man. It was just, oof. You know, when we got to the square and was all kind of, you just saw that swarm of fans. that was deep. That was really, really emotional, man. And they were all like chanting. I remember them chanting Fraser. What did we used to chant for Fraser? Fraser Campbell.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Fraser Campbell. I remember them just chanting that, and he was just there, wasn't he, with his little grin.
Sort of on a
You know what I
slant
mean?
little
Just
bit,
like
his grin.
proper, just grinning like it was nothing. I was like, oh God, Fraser.
We were all desperate for him to sign at that point. That's probably what it was, you know, absolutely. Just trying anything to get the kid to sign.
Oh, you and me both, man. Like, God. Yeah, I know. But that's football, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be at the time, but, you know, fortunately we were privileged to see him come back a few years later and, you know.
Yeah.
Same guy.
Yeah, it was mad. Like things changed quick after that. You know, we had a lot of new players came in.
Yeah, and
really
your
quickly.
position in the squad sort of changed as well, didn't it? Because Marlon King comes in, Gio and Daniel
Kuzan, yeah, loads of players. Just, but I kind of got it. You know, like I'd been in that situation many times. At that point, I kind of seen it all, kind of thing, in a short space of time.
Yeah.
Just with kind of like my journey and, you know, my moves and the positions I was in prior, and nothing felt like a surprise. I kind of understood it. It was big for Hull to be in the position there was, and in a sense, we had to do all we can to give ourselves the best chance of staying there. Like I got it, you know. Obviously, there was, as a player, you think, you know, we've got a good set of lads that have got you to this position, and you know, obviously, we felt a little overlooked, of course, because, you know, who wouldn't? But I didn't necessarily feel I wasn't part of the team, though. I still felt pretty much a part of the team, and I mean, I started the first game of the season.
Yeah, you were a massive part of the team for that game.
Yeah. So, you know, I worked hard that summer, and as you said, I mean, I started. Well, I didn't start the game, but I came on.
What was that feeling like to score that goal? Because that's another moment in history. You know, you're proving yourself the man for the big occasion.
That was another beautiful moment as well, because the day was actually the anniversary of my best friend that passed.
Right.
And each year I kind of, you know, wear a black armband, and, you know, the game that falls on that weekend is normally kind of where I'd wear a band and represent him, and I couldn't believe I actually scored that game.
We don't want to take up too much more of your time with everything. So if you're outside as well and stuff, and just trying to enjoy your night, you don't want to be talking into the night with us two. But
yeah, it's just flown, to be honest. Time just flown. Didn't even realise the time.
I just want to make sure that we've covered everything, Rich. I think we've got to the Premier League season, so the majority of the stuff we wanted to ask was basically like getting there and the signing and everything else, wasn't it? But
yeah, I think so. I mean, the only thing I'd like to ask Caleb, just to sort of, and I don't like asking it in a funny sort of a way, because we've covered so many highs, but like, what was that Premier League season like for you? You know, because you weren't in the side a hell of a lot, and I just wondered, from that high of scoring a winner against Fulham, how it felt then for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it felt a low. It definitely wasn't a low. I mean, I've experienced lows, and that definitely wasn't a low point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nah, I still felt very much. See, the thing is, you know, when like kind of my journey as a player, like I've always been played certain roles, so to speak. So I've always understood kind of not necessarily my role, but roles of being a team player and certain dynamics. I've always kind of understood, and obviously there's times where you may feel like you should be playing a particular game or whatnot, which is fine, but I never still at that point felt like I wasn't a valuable member of the team, so to speak. So I always kind of felt like I was part of the team, even though I may not have featured as much I would have liked. It was sometimes a bit, because I think at one point we had so many different strikers there, and then we had like Minuccio coming in, and all these players, and I was like, "What's going on here?" I'm like really? Like I could do twice what some of these players can do, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we spoke about Minuccio a little bit with Craig. And,
yes, Fags didn't get on with him, did he? So
it was just strange signings. I was like, oh, I didn't really understand a lot of these signings, to be honest. But
so it was almost a little bit like throwing crap at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah, like Jose Altidore and these guys. And I was
it was the second season that, because you went out on loan to Middlesbrough, didn't you? And then came back in the end, because that must have been a bit of a weird time. Because we stayed up.
That was what I say was a low point, because obviously me and the gaffer had a bit of a fallout, so that kind of resulted in me going on loan.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a down moment, and it was hard to kind of. To be fair, when I came back, we kind of made up and water under the bridge kind of thing. But
yeah,
it was always kind of a period what felt like a down for me.
Yeah.
But before that point, it didn't necessarily feel like that. It was always kind of still felt like a positive, just being a part of the team in general, like, because you just got to remember, like, we got the team here, like as a group.
Yeah.
And I'm still here, and I know a lot of the guys moved on at that point, and we had a lot of new players there, but we would have found part of the foundation. I don't even like saying I was the foundation, because I always look at Hull like they already set the foundation years before I got there. They'd already been getting promoted, and they already established a foundation. So I was just kind of a part of the jigsaw, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I don't even like giving myself credit in that term. Like I always, the lads that were there before kind of was the foundation. I was kind of a little bit of a missing piece that came along.
Yeah. I think it was a very important piece, though, in a lot of games. We've proved tonight that you've had so many different key goals in different games, particularly in that run for that first promotion into the Premier.
Yeah, man. It's like I'm very proud of my time there, like of my journey in life at that point. It's still like the best part of my career and my football life, so to speak, are those times. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you seem to identify a lot with City. You're very active on Twitter with, City fans.
I've just never felt connected in that way with any other clubs. You know what I mean? It's like, just as I said, the journey like I've been in football, especially with Hull. There's just a lot of connection there, even stemming back from me going on loan there when I was a young lad, and being around Hull at that age. There's a lot of foundation, there's a lot of roots there, there's a lot of connects with myself and Hull, and being a Yorkshire lad as well is like, it just just felt like home, Hull to me. I remember crying when I left Hull, like I just was crying. It was just emotional.
Well, I actually thought you were going to kick on again, when you came back from your loan, and you didn't get back in the team until really, unfortunately Phil had been sacked, and then Ian Dowie's first game.
Ian Dowie, brilliant. Yeah, he was really good.
2 goals.
Dowie. Yeah.
2 goals down at Portsmouth, and I was down at the game, and I remember thinking, yes, he's back. I was so chuffed for you that day. It just felt like, I thought you should have been in the team really anyway.
Yeah, like Dowie was really, really good with me, to be honest. Like I think he saw something in me, and I felt that from him. And what football's like. It can be like this 1 minute, like that the other. But
yeah.
In general, I felt good with Dowie. In terms of me personally, it's different. Like overall managing the team, but on
a personal level,
he was all right. On a personal level, he was brilliant with me. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
I think, to be honest, that's a great way to end
Yeah,
I would
because
say
we don't want to go too dark on the next
No.
season with the other manager. Because
no, but also we want to set it up nicely for
brutal.
when we do get older Doyley, and then you can come on again at some point because you've got
Yeah.
the stories you can share.
Gotta get Doyley on, man.
We will.
Absolutely.
I'll work on it. You message him and I'll message him.
I'm gonna
at the same
message him
time as well.
actually. Yeah, I'll give him the heads up. But
I'll make sure I contact him at the same time. But listen,
yeah,
Caleb, it's been absolutely brilliant talking to you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time massively.
no, I appreciate it, man. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Good, I'm glad.
It's great stuff. We have as well, and hopefully there'll be another one in the pipeline soon.
Yeah, no worries. I've got your number anyway, Luke. I've saved that, so just give me a shout whenever.
That's brilliant. I will do.
Nice
mate.
one.
Thanks so much for being on, and I'm sure we'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Yeah, you too, guys. Appreciate
Cheers,
it.
Caleb. Take it easy, mate.
See you, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Right, we just want to thank Caleb for his time. I know me and Rich have enjoyed that immensely, haven't we?
Yeah, brilliant chat. I love talking to him.
Yeah,
what a great guy.
He's a great guy, and obviously he's mentioned Doyley a few times. We'll work on that. We'll try and make sure that we bring Folan Part 2 and get Doyley in to tell about some of those stories that he was mentioning, but he wouldn't give anything away about, which is a little bit of a tease there.
I'll tell you what. We'll just give them the details for the app. We won't log on. We'll let them have it.
Yeah.
Guest hosts.
Yeah, they can do their own. Yeah, we don't need to say anything, do we? All the good stuff is going to come from them, to be honest.
Then the numbers will really take off.
That's right. Talking of numbers, just a big quick thank you to everybody. I'm sure Rich will echo this as well. Obviously on Twitter we're at Tigers Blah, and then we're at Tigers Podcast on Facebook. But if you look at the Twitter and the Facebook link, there's a link that's Linktree. And that's all our kind of links for different social medias is on kind of one hub. Because I know we'd had a few queries about people like, where do you find the link for the Apple podcast or the Spotify and things like that. So it's all in one place. So that should be easy for people to find. But the amount of feedback we've had has been pretty mental on it, Rich, really.
Yeah, it's good to see. I mean, you run the Twitter account for the podcast, but I enjoy seeing that everybody's enjoying it.
Yeah,
and,
there's a few. There's obviously listeners that they'd listen every week. I think we're just to give you some insight on numbers. We broke the 600 mark today, 600 listens, which is pretty mental for 5 weeks we've been doing this. Is it?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't normally recommend that many people listen to us too, but
me neither, really, mate. To be fair. It's just usually us two that like the sound of our own voices and nobody else wants to listen. But I think something like, for example, we had Caleb today, so we'll make sure when we do the episode, he's at Folan. Make sure you follow him as well. He's
good
always
follower
good
for
value.
City fans.
He is. He interacts with fans. He retweets goals. He gets involved. It's all good stuff. So obviously, make sure you follow Caleb as well. And again, it's at Tigers Blah on Twitter, so make sure you get involved with there, and Tigers Podcast on Facebook, and then it's LinkedIn and loads of different other social medias. It's all on the Linktree, but obviously the link is on the Twitter and the Facebook pages. So thank you for listening, and I'm sure we'll be back soon with another City guest for you all. Don't want to give any too many clues away, but we've got some
Nathan Doyle.
We'll try and get Doyley on as soon as we can. And then, so make sure everybody stays safe until we have any kind of change of the current situation. And I'm sure we'll speak to you soon. So goodbye from both of us.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. And I'm sure we'll speak to you again soon. Make sure you subscribe and take care.